He wanted all his stuff back, so I made sure he for everything. I posted this in r/petty revenge and a lot of people thought it would fit well here. I just copied and pasted right from my other post. Obligatory, I'm on mobile, so forgive me for formatting. So, my last relationship was beyond bad. He was all sorts of abusive and controlling. At one point I had the strength to break up with him, but then we got back together after we discussed some things. Stupid, I know, but yeah, love and all that. Well, anyways, one of the things we agreed on was that he and I would stop drinking alcohol because he was beyond crazy aggressive when he drank, and I wanted to support his sobriety. This is really important. Fast forward about 8 months or so and we got into a huge fight, and I not only broke up with him, I kicked him out of the house and told him he wasn't ever allowed back inside. We'd been living together over a year at this point, so his mom got in touch with me about getting his stuff. While on the phone with her, I could hear him in the background saying, "Make sure they get everything I own or bought. I want it all back." Apparently even stuff he gifted me he wanted back, but honestly, I didn't care. I was happy to get rid of anything related to him. While cleaning our room up and gathering everything, I started to come across numerous bottles and cans of alcohol. It seems he had been drinking again for a while and was hiding the evidence in the room. I mean, he was hiding them under the bed, in his guitar case, rolled up in his clothes, in some old backpacks of mine, and so on and so forth. He had said he wanted everything of his, so any bottle and the few unopened cans I found went straight into one of the garbage bags of his stuff. By the time I had gathered everything up, I had 3 bags of stuff and one was basically all just the alcohol. Dropping them off was just so satisfying. He actually called moments after I left his parents' place, ranting about how petty and immature I was being. My response? Well, you wanted all of your stuff back, and those definitely weren't mine. Plus, I figured you'd probably need a drink to deal with the breakup. I promptly ended the call and blocked him on everything. Most satisfying thing I've ever done. Edit. Firstly, thank you everyone for the words of encouragement and everything. This happened years ago, but knowing people are still proud of me for leaving means the world to me. Also, there's definitely a lot about this story that didn't get posted, such as cops having to be involved and other things. I didn't put open cans or unscrew and bottle lids just for the fact I didn't want to risk ruining his stuff, as that'd be a huge headache and everything.
Now to the comments. Good for you, it takes willpower to leave a bad relationship. One of my favorite quotes was from Robin Williams, "I used to think the worst thing in life was to end up alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people who make you feel alone."
This man knew deep pain.
Duck, right? I still think about Robin Williams sometimes. After his death you could really start to see the pain behind his eyes. Good riddance to bad rubbish, both figuratively and literally. Good for you. Oh God, I know exactly what you mean about the hidden bottles. My ex was an alcoholic and he didn't tell me when we got together, so I thought drinking was cool around him. It spiraled into a clusterfuck. I ended up finding all sorts of different bottles in weird places, behind DVDs on the shelf, tucked into shoes that were in a donation pile, inside an empty box for a game console, inside the mattress cover up against the wall, hidden in the substrate in the snake tank.
Was the snake yours or his?
Funny enough, neither of ours originally. It was supposed to be a temporary pet because my friend messaged me, "Hey, I'm moving, can you babysit my ball python for a week while I get settled?" He ended up becoming one of the pets. My ex kept him because I couldn't take an 80-gallon tank when I moved. LOL, honestly, I thought you showed restraint. I would have been canvassing the trash cans to see what I could send mixed in with his clothes. Can I ask what the final straw was? What caused the fight?
Put it in a clear recycling bag instead of a black garbage bag, so he has to advertise to the whole neighborhood. He might not care, but his parents might.
Friend did this, her spouse split up, he moved to another country. House had to be sold, he didn't help with packing but said he'd cleaned out the garage. He asked her to ship his tools that remained in garage, she did, COD, including all the garbage and junk that he hadn't cleaned up.
OP replied. OMG COD, I'm weak.
Now cleanse yourself of his toxic energy he left behind. You don't have to delete this post, although the more people who interact with it, the longer your mind stays in a toxic space relating to him. Go do something for yourself to show yourself the love you always deserve. Or don't. I won't hold ya to it because I'm just an internet stranger. Love ya, OP.
Solid advice.
I would have loaded up an open box with the alcohol bottles and handed it to his mom so she could see exactly what his problem is.
OP replied. Oh, she knew. She used to make excuses and actually sent me a long message after we broke up about how when you love someone you forgive their faults and blah blah blah. She definitely enabled him a lot.
Nose picking is a fault. Alcoholism is an addiction. Addiction needs treatment, not enabling. Honestly, I did the same thing, in a similar situation. We were supposed to be sober together because of his addiction, and when he left, I started to pack up his things into this large storage bin he had. I started finding so many empty cans and bottles, those just got packed into the bin, mixed with everything else. Too bad his preference was for locos, so things might have gotten sticky. As an alcoholic, I sympathize with his issue, but it's not an excuse to be addicted to OP. Added clarification.
Judging from the rest of the post, his drinking wasn't his only problem, and most likely not the only reason for her pettiness. This is only a snapshot of a relationship that lasted at least a year. We know nothing about them or the relationship they shared.
Sorry, I should have been clearer. I sympathize with his problem, but that doesn't excuse him for being addicted to OP. Awesome. I did something similar after a female roommate took off, leaving a lot of her belongings behind in her dumpster of a room. Without going into the backstory, I had to pack up her shit and leave it on the curb for her to pick up. It was gross. Especially when I discovered used sanitary products in drawers, the closet, under the bed, etc. I packed up every one I found. Hope she enjoyed opening those boxes.
OP replied. GAG. That's disgusting.
Wow, what a man. Has his mommy call his ex to get his stuff back. Proceeds to call OP petty and immature. LMAO.
OP replied. Well, I mean, he wasn't allowed to contact me due to the state protective order.
Malicious compliance to the T. Glad you cross-posted. How long has it been since? You doing good?
OP replied. It's been 3 years, and I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for asking.
That's good. Just be mindful. The most dangerous time for domestic abuse/escalation is after you break up. Stay safe.
OP replied. So, this happened in 2017, but surprisingly he never did anything until November 2019 when he started stalking me. Thankfully I was moving in December and we made sure to do it in a way where he can't find me now.
Reading this when I got to the part about him wanting everything back, including things he gifted you, I halfway expected you to give him back something like a sex toy or something. I think it would have been hilarious if you went out and got a giant dildo or strap-on or something and snuck it into his things, leaving him at a loss as to how to explain to his mom that those were his.
OP replied. He was way too vanilla and all my sex toys I had bought for myself. He definitely wasn't gonna get those. And I'm sure his mom would have believed him if he said it wasn't his. She was a doormat when it came to her children.
Bless ya. You did a good thing. It's up to him to realize he has a problem. Once you start hiding your drinking habit from those closest to you, I would consider that a problem. Good on you for having the strength to end it. I hope you're okay. Breakups are never easy, even when they're for the best.
OP replied. I wish I'd had the strength sooner, but it was definitely a relief when it was over. This was back in 2017 and almost all my friends welcomed me back. He'd isolated me really badly, and I'm doing as well as someone can be during these times. I also hope the trash bag of bottles helped him realize his problem. But I really doubt it. Hopefully he eventually got the help he needed.